Happy Monday evening, everybody. Welcome to Turn 1. I'm Sean Fitz alongside Kevin England, and tonight we're headed to Kansas. Real World, the race yesterday, had an exciting finish in the Sim 500 group, and the Cooks Landscape Series, or the Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series here is certainly going to put on a show. Kevin, tonight I think we're going to see a mix of strategies here, a mix of lanes, a mix of driving abilities, but some notables not starting even in the top 10 here as they get ready to roll off the grid.
Yeah, who is starting on the pole is Tyler Dalton, a place where we're used to seeing him when it comes to qualifying. I say Kansas is an everyman's track. It's the kind of racetrack that everybody loves. You can find different grooves, different parts of the asphalt to power up and come up off the corner. It's a fuel strategy, it's a tire savings, it's a fun racetrack for everybody. And I think, like last week, Sean, track position is going to matter, and I believe starting up front is going to make a play in this. So some of these drivers who buried themselves a little bit here in qualifying, we'll see if they can recover early on.
Yeah, absolutely. Tonight, we're in the Cup car, so we know that there's going to be a little bit of an aero advantage. There's a little bit of drafting at play here tonight as they roll off the grid. Tyler Dalton is going to start on the pole in a really good spot. Kevin DeBrown's going to start P2. Glenn Campbell, Chad Coleman, Anthony Calatoni, Brian Macklin, Troy Haight is going to start 7th. Brentley Glazer, Thomas George, and Eric Arnold round out your top 10.
Yeah, 11th for Robert Friery, Jason Karlovac, Mark Jorgensen Jr., Jason Pick, Cody Harris, Charles Wood, Mike Montesi in the 4, Kevin Stone, and Stephen Miles in the 20th position as they roll down the backstretch, getting ready here for 130 laps of action at Kansas.
And I tell you what, a driver we did not see a strong qualifying effort is our point sitter. That's the driver of the 20. That is David Schildhouse. He qualified, I believe that was 22nd. I talked to that driver tonight, and we'll talk about that in the race, but I think he's got some ambitions here to unlock at Kansas. Tyler Dalton, a 19 car. I would argue likely looking for a little bit more speed here out of that 19 as of late. Dalton not in that top 4, top 5 point contention wise. Would like to walk away with a strong finish here tonight as they get the 1 to go signal from the flagman. I'll tell you what, Kevin, if I were to pick a driver here tonight, maybe a little bit of a sleeper, I would say it's likely going to be the 38 of Chad Coleman. Starting 4th here, outside row number 2, we have seen him really pick up some speed here over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, the veteran certainly knows how to get around these racetracks, and in a racetrack where strategy, fuel mileage, saving the tires, that all checks the boxes for him. And I'm going to look at a recovery for Mark Jorgensen Jr. Ran so strong last week, only to have things fall apart. And I believe he's the kind of driver. This is a racetrack where if you find speed in every single lap, you'll find yourself climbing the boards and maybe coming away with a victory. So I'd keep an eye on that 88. Also, Jason Karlovac took a pretty big hit last week, points-wise, back in 19th in the point championship, but has been steady Eddie all season long. And I think this is the type of racetrack that suits him too. As the pace car peels off, gives the field to the 19 of Tyler Dalton. We're getting ready for 130 laps of green flag action, and the green is out as Tyler has a good jump here on the 44 of Campbell.
Tyler Dalton heads off into turn 1 for the first time, free and clear down there right to the bottom of the racetrack. Kevin DeBrown's going to join him in that 93 car. I imagine we'll be talking a lot about the 93 as he's another driver that showed a bunch of speed. Calatoni had to check up. It looked like the 44 Campbell may have tagged the wall just a little bit. Coleman now going to look underneath him as they all roll through 3 and 4 to complete the first lap here tonight of 130 in Kansas.
Dalton continues to lead. He's got a 3-car length lead over Kevin DeBrown sitting there in second. They carve that white line early here. The bottom line is where the grip and cold tires are in place. Calatoni, who made a big jump in the point championship, up 10 positions to the 10th slot in the point standings, sits there in third. Shown a lot of speed lately, Sean, and I have to wonder if he's putting in the hours here. Is it starting to show up in results from the racetrack?
Yeah, I would say a year ago, Calatoni was the talk of the league. We've seen him really be quick and dominant, and then he's reminds me of one of those drivers that just is not getting along with this Cup car model and how it is behaving. As we have caution on the racetrack, we've got a car sitting basically right across the racetrack there. Not 100% who that was. Brian Wortman slow.
Yeah, that would be the 5 of Logan Koger, and I'm not even sure what happened there. He came off of turn 2, the car got sideways, he was all by himself, and just lost the mount coming up off the corner and slid to a stop right there in the racing groove. So the Exalta number 5 brings caution number 1 here at lap number 2.
Off of turn 2 there, that right rear just stepping out on him. He locks it up sideways. I believe he was one of those drivers that elected to start off pit road. This happened pretty close to the front of the pack. Koger going to bring the first caution out of the night here tonight at Kansas. Tyler Dalton able to hang on to that lead. Again, Kevin DeBrown sitting P2, Anthony Calatoni P3, Chad Coleman, Brian Macklin, your top 5. So let's take a look back here. Already up 9 spots on the night. That's David Schildhouse. And Kevin, I went and had a quick chat with that driver before the start. I actually stopped over to the stream and said hello to the children, and I asked him one question. I said, we're going to be talking to you at the end of the night. And his only response was, absolutely. So a lot of confidence out of that 20 car. Swept the spring, Kevin, I do believe, and looking for more here tonight.
Yeah, no doubt in the spring he showed how he can get the job done here tonight. When you come back to a racetrack after you've notched the victory and sat down there to drink the champagne, you got a little swagger in your step as you come through the gate. So I would think there's a lot of confidence in that. We're going to see half the field pull off. And I know this is very strange to have such an early caution, but even now you could swap the strategy by topping off and getting yourself on an alternative strategy. And we have a handful of takers doing that, most notably the 28 of Haight and the 95 of Harris, the two of them coming in here, and they've been having good runs lately, and we'll have to wonder if this will parlay into something a little bit later tonight.
I suspect we will see Cody Harris and co. Another notable there is going to be Jason Karlovage. He came down here, same as Steven Miles. He's been having a rough go of it in pretty much all aspects, it feels like, out of that 24. I imagine Miles feels like he's doing. You've got to go where people aren't, and you've got to go in the strategy that people aren't to put yourself in the optimal position. I believe this gets them to a place where you can one stop the remainder of the race. We'll see how this all shakes out, as tire wear will certainly be a factor. Tyler Dalton continues to lead as they come back here to the stripe under caution for the first time tonight. The Sim 500 Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series right here on turn 1. They're going to get side by side ready to go. And by the way, you want to join this group or join the many other nights of week of racing they have available. The Sunday Night Surge Series is also called live right here on turn 1. They've got a Thursday night group happening. They've got a midnight group on Fridays also occurring. So many options to choose from and race with some of the best and the cleanest drivers you'll find in the league space. Head on over to sim500.com for more information. Kevin, I think this is going to give the 93 a chance to show a little bit of pace here. He's going to start outside of that row 1. He's up a spot, so doesn't have to hang back behind the leader, but he's got to get off the jump here pretty cleanly.
Yeah, we typically equate Kevin DeBrown with short run speed. He always has a fast car and is up on the wheel, but lately he's been showing that he can get it done on the long run here. And good qualifying, good finishes, and sitting here early in the second position. I think Tyler should get the jump on him here in the restart zone, but if he minds his P's and Q's and gets himself to clean air, it could be a fantastic night for the number 93 driver.
The 19 of Dalton gets him ready to go back. Green flag racing the first restart of the night here. For the Sim 500 Cup gang, down into the zone they go. The green flag back out. We're back racing at Kansas. Everybody free and clear rolling as they head off and down into turn 1. Calatoni, though, able to capitalize. It looked like Kevin DeBrown did not get the start he wanted. He's going to slide all the way back to 4th. Brian Macklin now underneath him, hunting for that 3rd place spot. Dalton out front now, the 84 Calatoni, the Talking Giant Chevrolet, moving up to P2. Macklin is going to shut the door here on DeBrown. Keep in mind, only a few green flag laps on these tires, about as good as new as it gets, as these drivers cross the start-finish line and charge off down into turn 1.
Yeah, it certainly looks like early on the bottom line is the preferred groove. Everybody kind of hunting that white line through 1 and 2. Is a couple passes being made on this restart. We just saw the 20 come in and make a move. Here comes the 36 peeking underneath of George in the 6 car as he noses up a little bit. That opens the door for Schildhaus. Schildhaus draws alongside here at the start-finish line. Is one car down there by the grass. You can run the apron at this racetrack as Schildhaus moves by and takes that position. And seeing a handful of passes here in the early going as drivers putting a little bit to it. You have to wonder, Sean, when you drive so hard right here in the beginning, do you use a little bit of tire that could end up hurting you later if we end up with a really long run?
Yeah, you know that's got to be a factor. We got a car hitting down to the grass. That's Macklin. He was off pace there coming out of 4 and trying to get back to the throttle. And since it doing a little bit of a grass stripe there, he's going to pop the curb, get back onto the apron. Green flag's going to stay out. But Kevin, back to your point, yeah, I completely agree. It's all about minding what you have in the car right now for that long run. And, you know, some of these drivers came down that pit road and took that fuel splash, you know, back there, lap 4. One of the first drivers to do that was Stephen Miles. He is currently sitting 18th. And he's one of the drivers heading right down to the very bottom of the apron, but a lot of traffic for him. So not only do you want to conserve the tire, but you've also got to challenge that with navigating traffic in that long green flag run. Kevin, I don't know about you, but it's really a tough decision to decide what to do here.
Sliding sideways on the back straightaway. There's 60 of Carl Lavages is off. The 20 is damaged after connecting the wall. We stay green, I think, but we got another car down there on the apron, the 17 of Kevin Stone. So all kinds of stuff going on, extracurricular over there off of turn 2. And I think that started with Stephen Miles. The car broke loose right in the shot when we cut away. The car went sideways, and I could see some pretty significant damage to the back of the Sim 500 Camaro.
Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, this all started with the 24. That tagged up a bunch of cars out of turn 2 there. Carl Lavage feeling the most of that there. And like you mentioned, I believe Stephen Miles may have gotten a piece of that as well. A little bit of front-end damage, but looks like that rear bumper cover took the brunt of it. And Stephen Miles back rolling. We remain green here tonight. Tyler Dalton out front has led them all so far here. And looking pretty snazzy in that 19. Calatoni P2, Eric Arnold P3, Chad Coleman riding, just being steady Eddie here in P4. Meanwhile, we take a look back, and that's David Schildhaus. He's hunting down Kevin DeBrown. And Schildhaus is on a tear. We talked about him a couple times already tonight, but that driver started back at 22nd position and already has raced himself up into the top 10. And he's one of the first drivers, Kevin, I'm seeing starting to leverage that high line, especially down in 1 and 2.
Yeah, certainly if you go down into the corner and the car in front of you is occupying your space, you want to go up and get clean air on the nose. And he has switched to the high side for making passes and looked relatively easy as he went around the 93 for that position. And David Schildhaus, the car on the move.
Caution out in the field. And it looks like I am looking for it. And unfortunately, I believe it involves maybe the 2 car here. Going to bring this caution out. Robert has a tow. Let's take a look. Oh, the 2 car just breaks loose right here in front of Josh Parker. Gets tagged by the 4 and then noses into the wall. Kevin, it looks like we've got a loose handling condition on some of these race cars here tonight early at Kansas.
Yeah, certainly one of the things you try to do when you come up off the corner is square the corner up so that you can drive off as straight as possible. But that one, the 2 car just broke loose going into the corner. And I have to wonder, when you see these seams on the racetrack, the grip for the right rear as you lay the car in and lay it over onto the right side, if it's sitting on that right rear tire on the seam, it can break loose like that. And, well, for Robert Friery, it has spelled trouble here at lap 14.
Under caution here for the second time. We're going to step away. Tyler Dalton leads at Kansas. You're watching Turn 1. A mix of strategies at play here as they wrap up caution number 2. Tyler Dalton getting ready to go back green flag. Eric Arnold coming down pit road randomly. And they're going to see the green flag back out. Anthony Calatoni in the 84 hanging tough on that outside. Kevin, they're headed down into 1, and I think these cautions are certainly, as you mentioned, starting to help some of these drivers that pit early.
Yeah, certainly the drivers who had trouble. We saw Karlovaj have his incident. He was able to go down and get some service along with some others, but Eric Arnold, who was running top 5, sits down on pit road here as the field streaks around, and I'm not really sure what the situation is for him there, but I saw Calatoni slap the wall coming up out of turn 4. That's something we'll see quite often as drivers try to do everything they can to get as much space up off that corner to carry the speed. And so far, nobody's turned a wheel better than the 19 of Tyler Dalton out in clean air and breaking away here, but he should look in his rearview mirror as the challenge for second is on.
It certainly is, and if he were to look out in that rear view right now, he's going to see the 20 car, David Schildhouse and Anthony Calatoni battling side by side. He wants to see that continue on as much as possible because the moment David Schildhouse gets around, he's going to be a factor up front here. He's worked himself all the way up to 3rd. Kevin DeBrown sitting right there in that P4 spot. Coleman into 5th as basically our entire top 10 single filed out. Another decent run here for Josh Parker, by the way, in that in that 81 car. He actually got a little tight there on the middle of the corner coming off a 4, but nonetheless, he is working around Charles Woods, and that driver's up 21 spots up to 11th. Kevin, we talked about drivers that are owed and looking for a little bit of a break. I think the 81 is contender number 1 there, looking for a break here tonight.
Yeah, he's been feast or famine lately, and lately it's been feast as he's been fed to the wolves, but definitely making a little bit of headway here tonight. And if he could just put a full race together, I think he would be someone to contend with as the 20 got around for second. Now he's under attack. The car on the charge to 93. Kevin DeBrown slides underneath of him over here in turns 1 and 2. There's a dead heat up out of the corner, but good run for the 20 from the high side, carrying the momentum is, yeah, look at that pack behind him. Boy, everybody's on the charge here as we work lap number 23.
They are. Chad Coleman looking underneath DeBrown here to close up the door there on the 3rd place position, and he's going to do it. Meanwhile, Dalton looking at lap times, 31:17. David Schildhouse, even though he wrapped up some traffic, faster, a 31:12 out of David Schildhouse. So far, finding that pace on that high line, one of the first drivers to move up there. We haven't seen too many others follow him through, but Chad Coleman right now, right in the tire tracks, down into 3 and 4. And Kevin, as a driver who I know runs this series fairly often yourself, how much is it about learning about the drivers around you versus trying to self-discover, especially in moments like this?
I mean, we see it in the real series. When you get to somebody's back bumper, the question is, what's going to happen to try and pass them? Are they going to wave you by? Are they going to fight you tooth and nail? Are they running a steady line? Are they good at this racetrack? Or are they going to drive away from you? I mean, right now, let's look at the 93. He's got the 51 to the outside. First timer mentioned Justin Fuller. He came from deep within. And, you know, we set it up early that these drivers didn't qualify. Well, apparently, that's not really a factor here, as these guys have driven from deep within the field. But wherever you see the 20 for Schildhouse, you typically want to speak about Fuller in the 51 because the two of them have been the dominant cars all season. And the 51, when you see him to his outside to answer your question, you know he's going to charge through. He wants your position, and you're going to have to fight him for it, where other times, if the driver gets behind you and you're running fast enough pace, they might be content to ride with you and wait for you to make a mistake or get a little slower. But when you see that 51, you know you're going to see a lot of pressure from behind.
Yeah, switching it up now, going to the bottom. Chad Coleman takes the high line. Justin Fuller sits just 8 points behind the driver, right there off his nose for that point standings in that season championship. Schildhouse right now running P2. Justin Fuller going to be scored with P3 right off the quarter here. And we've seen a lot of pace there out of the 51 off of 3 and 4, close the gap up to Schildhouse. But more importantly, that gap out front. That's Tyler Dalton. Last time by a 31-23 Schildhaus, 31-42. I would not be surprised if we're starting to see a little bit of tire conservation there out of the 20 car. So a lot of those fast drivers, a lot of notables up front, and a lot of drivers here that I honestly didn't call this for. I know Mark Jorgensen Jr. in the 88 car. He's up 8 spots on the night. This is not a bad run for Mark. It's been a relatively dull last month or so, but Mark Jorgensen sitting right now P6. And Kevin, I know this driver is often one you have your eye on, and he's marching himself forward, taking his sweet time here. He's not been down pit road. He started from pit road here tonight, so had to drive up through the field quite a bit.
I mean, the one reason I always call out the 88, he's got one thing that everybody wants. It's speed. You could just see how fast he's closing in on that 93. It seems to be week in and week out, he's been bringing the speed to the racetrack. And if you got speed and you got car control, there's two things you could do with it. You can go to the front, and right now we're seeing a display of that as Mark Jorgensen running in Sith. I'll tell you, there's another car that has speed, and it's unfortunate that he's in trouble tonight, is the 31 of Eric Arnold running in 32nd. Came out of the pits and has just driven himself into this top 10 track position slot. But unfortunately for him, he's multiple laps down. But the 31 looked pretty fast today in practice.
He did, up to third before coming down pit road right as the pace car came down. So a little bit of something going on with him. Maybe he can work his way back around onto the lead lap, or at least gain a couple laps here before it's all said and done. Speaking of working, lap 31 here, so less than 100 to go. Tyler Dalton continues to lead on that top spot, but I tell you what, it is David Schildhaus and bringing along Justin Fuller. That fight is coming here really quick, and we can see a fight for the lead under green.
Field kind of single filed out here. Leaders rolling out of turn 2 to the back straightaway. Some of the stragglers are crossing the start finish line. And right now what happens when you get to that situation is it's mano a mano. You tend to get drivers battling each other in their small little space of racetrack and just trying to figure out how to move forward or protect what they have. As one car on the move, one by one, we see him moving through. Coming up is the 95 of Cody Harris. He's worked his way into the 14th position. He's in a dogfight right now with Troy Haight to the outside. The Wood father, number 46 Camaro, trying to protect from the outside as Harris streaks up from the bottom. And out in front of him is a name we haven't mentioned too much, or behind them, right, and watching this battle is the 22 of Nelson Rivera. Nelson, pretty fast at this type of racetrack too. And we have to remember that some of these drivers have a little bit of fuel mileage and tire strategy going, so we're going to see alternative strategy if this race rolls on.
Yeah, Cody Harris, one of those drivers that came down there lap 16, also came down lap number 4, so certainly a little bit of strategy as he's hoping to see it go green flag. Meanwhile, Tyler Dalton, David Schildhaus. Oh, speaking of, there's a caution.
Oh, no.
As David Schildhaus and Tyler Dalton were just starting to battle it out, and Eric Arnold looks like he is involved, Kevin. And that's going to bring out the first caution here. It looks like EJ O'Rourke also slow.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they were from a timing standpoint, as the 20 was just underneath, and I thought for sure he was going to be able to execute that pass. As trouble for EJ O'Rourke. Car swung wide. He tried to keep it off the fence, and when he jerked it down, the car slung back out to him, and the unit's Toyota came to a spin over there on the back straightaway.
This is going to shake up some of that strategy, and we're going to talk about it in just a little bit, as I imagine we'll see some of these drivers in the top 10 come down pit road. We're going to step aside for just a moment. You're watching Turn 1. Well, Kevin, all that pit strategy thrown out the window here as everybody comes down pit road for tires and fuel and the attention of their crew here as we get ready to get back green flag racing. But one driver that elected to stay out, Bobby Wetzel's going to assume the lead here in that 9 car. He's going to have David Shieldhouse on the outside. We'll have to see what these older tires can do for Bobby Wetzel as they head down into the restart zone and the green flag back out here at Kansas.
Yeah, Wetzel's going to pull down and not be a dog in this fight as he's going to let them go through. Now it's going to be up to Tyler Dalton to see whether he can hold off the 20. He got a good start out down there on the bottom, is able to clear Shieldhouse and pull up as Tyler Dalton goes back to P1.
This is the times where I think we've seen the 19 maybe have a couple slip-ups over the last couple months. He's a really quick driver. It's a good opportunity for him to show what he's got, but he's got to keep his nose out of trouble here and keep the car underneath him as well as the tires. Don't let David Shieldhouse push you to do something you shouldn't. And right now, Tyler Dalton's going to lead, but Justin Fuller, he is starting to poke the nose of that 51. Last 2 laps, he's won deep to the outside through 1 and 2. He's going to do the same thing there in 3 and 4. A dirt track driver would say that's up against the cushion here, all the way up there, maybe leaning on some aero coming off that wall to keep the car pretty much riding the wall all the way through there. A lot of these drivers finding a little bit extra speed up there and not having to drive the car, turn the car as hard here as they work off of turn 2 at Kansas.
And certainly for Dalton, it's not a surprise to see him outrun everybody else, as obviously he started from the pole here tonight. We know he can put down a quick lap, and I don't suspect that he will be too shabby out front here. He runs pretty quick times. The question is, what's going to happen on the long run? There's a little bit of a contest out behind them. A couple spots back there is to the high side. Josh Parker starting to make a little presence. He's outside of Kevin DeBrown for that 4th position, and he's got it. He locked in down there on the backstretch. He's going to try and chase down Justin Fuller as he's the first driver here on this restart to go to the high line, and he's making hay up there in the number 81.
Josh Parker up front into the top 5 for the first time tonight. He's going to come across the nose there of Kevin DeBrown to get as much as he can off that tri-oval. A lot of drivers feel like they find a little bit of speed driving down the tri-oval, down the track, and apexing the start-finish line there. And right now it's working for Parker. He's up to 4th here, just behind Justin Fuller. Out front, though, Tyler Dalton continues to lead. He lost the lead there about 400 feet before that caution come out. David Shieldhouse was side by side and able to get by him here. Dalton able to take advantage of that first box down pit road and come out P1 up behind Bobby Wetzel. So no factor there, but Shieldhouse now closing in to half a car length as they work off of turn 2 coming down the backstretch.
I mean, if we think about how the first stint of this race went, the 20 car drove from deep within the field up to the leader to challenge for the lead, and he did indeed. Passon was credited with leading a lap there as the caution is out here. So you would suspect that 20 car is going to have a little something for him as the 95 of Cody Harris finding trouble here at Kansas.
Cody Harris spun around here. I believe that's coming off a 4. Let's take a look. See what happened. Oh, he may have had a little bit of help from the 46 there. Oh, and deep damage on the nose of the 95. Oh, and then he gets tagged by the 53. A lot of damage there out of Cody Harris, and that's going to bring the caution out. And ultimately going to make that car a little tougher to drive here with some nose damage on that machine. Going to bring the caution out here once again. Tyler Dalton, David Shieldhouse leads. Justin Fuller sitting 3rd. Josh Parker and Kevin DeBrown, your top 5. We're going to step aside. You're watching turn 1.
God.
Tyler Dalton, David Schildhouse get ready to re-rack it here. Justin Fuller, Josh Parker, your front two rows, and some notable names up there. The pace car lights are off as we get ready to go back green flag racing. The top two in the points is in the top three of the positions here at Kansas, and I am not surprised by that whatsoever as the pace car heads down pit road. The Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series all the way back down here to the restart zone, and the green flag's back out. We're back racing in Kansas.
Again, it appears the bottom line prevails as the top three cars on that bottom line streak away. Here comes Justin Fuller, pulls out a line. He'll look to the outside of Tyler Dalton, but once again, Tyler Dalton, a good, clean restart. He's going to hold command of this racetrack, and that's going to put Schildhouse back to fourth here where that bottom line really works well on the restarts. We've seen it time and time again here as we just cleared caution number 4.
And Schildhouse now moving back up to the bottom of the racetrack. Josh Parker was able to get to the top, but look at Justin Fuller. He sent it in pretty hard that he was slicing the dice across the front stretch, and he's going to take it to the high line. He's going to have some momentum. This could set up a pass for the lead as they roll down here into 3 and 4. Fuller closes in within a car length of Tyler Dalton. Isn't quite there. Now he's going to follow Dalton right down to the bottom of the racetrack. Fuller coming on with a little bit of pace here on the restart. Meanwhile, Schildhouse has settled into that 4th place spot. Chad Coleman just got done battling Josh Parker. Parker's going to go to the high side, Coleman down low. And as I talked about right before the start of the race, Chad Coleman, a quiet night for him, but so far so good. I feel like Coleman's really stepped up his presence over the last couple weeks and really kind of found his own pace here, running his own race as he's going to look to the outside of Parker. Parker has to dip to the inside there. That was near contact for those two. They're going to stay out of trouble as we look ahead, and now Schildhouse, he's back up to the high line. We would call that, again, that top groove there of David Schildhouse. That may be Schildhouse land before it's all said and done. Meanwhile, Tyler Dalton has started to set sail just a little bit, sitting 0.7 of a second over 4th place Schildhouse as they roll through 4.
Yeah, it almost feels like on these restarts when the tires cool off that the bottom line provides plenty of grip, but after just a moment's notice, the high line seems to be the place where you're not really putting a lot of pressure. You could wind it up there on the outside if you line up correctly and come up off. The other thing is up off these corners, if you're hard on the throttle, as we've seen a couple drivers experience, not very frequent, but every once in a while the car could step out on you, and drivers have to be careful of that. They could chase the car up and smack the outside wall. We've seen some incidents down there. Now, the one question I have for different drivers is whether you do what Josh Parker just did there, sweep down, going down there on that apron on the front straightaway. Mixed reservations about that. Some drivers don't like the way the car is unsettled going through there. You can't stay down there too long. There's like a drainage ditch or something where you go through a whoop-de-doo. And also drivers want to come back off that apron and come back up to the racetrack so that they can open the entry into the corner, meaning sweep out to the wall and turn down and not put so much pressure to their right front tire. But most drivers will tell you, I think, Sean, that they just prefer to stay on the racetrack. It's a little easier than going down through the bumps and the unsettle of the car when you go off the racetrack.
Yeah, it's important to note that the smoothest fast in this car, really every car ultimately, but especially this car, where you don't want to disrupt it. You want to keep it glued down to the track as much as possible. That's where your grip's going to be. That's where the downforce is going to be. So when you unsettle the car, even on that transition from that bank to that flat, can certainly play a factor in how the car can handle. We look up front, Tyler Dalton, Justin Fuller has figured it out. They're just starting to pull away from Schildhouse, but Schildhouse is able to shut the door into Brown 3 or 4 laps ago and is moving or holding his own there in that 3rd place spot. We're not seeing him at the top of the track at 3 and 4 like he has been. Meanwhile, Mark Jorgensen Jr., Josh Parker, those two have been side by side for what feels like since the restart here, with Parker hanging on the outside.
Yeah, Jorgensen playing the bottom feeder here. He's almost unsettled as he touches the apron over there. That's going to allow the 91 to drive on by him. uncharacteristic slip for the number 88 is this could be a decent night for the 88 points wise, as the 95 finding troubles from that last caution. Cody Harris back there in the 30th position. That car is wounded. You know, a lot of these drivers would love to see this thing go green. They think they probably have something for that long run. But for Cody Harris, he wants to see yellows to see if he could get the car back to a drivable state, as the 81 way loose out of turn number 2. And he just swings down to the white line on the back straightaway trying to catch it. That's going to allow the 91, who's been quietly sneaky in that move forward, as he gets pinched against the wall. And Wesley Donaldson scrapes the wall, but nonetheless, he's going to move around. I think he's going to take this 5th position.
Yeah, using the high side there down the front stretch to build up the RPM in the car. He's going to capitalize on that slip up on the 81, and welcome to the top 5. Wesley Donaldson, Parker making contact with the wall and has to save it again. Josh Parker just, unfortunately, his run coming apart here over the last 2 laps. He's moved all the way back to 9th now. He's going to move there right off the nose of Thomas George. And that 81 here, needs to cool the tires down a little bit, get the helmet in check, and start looking forward again as he, again, slides back to that 10th place spot. Back out front now, Kevin, I'm surprised to see, well, I'm not surprised and surprised to see Justin Fuller. He's still hanging on to that P2, but David Schildhouse right to the bumper down the backstretch here.
Yeah, and he's going to go for that bottom lane right now and drive down underneath Tyler Dalton. He figured, I've ridden behind you long enough. I want a piece of this lead, and I want the fresh air. He's physically painting the white line as he goes down out of turn number 2 to sneak up, but he's not able to cover the 19. Here comes Dalton to the outside. Dalton should have a little bit of advantage with the 20 pushing him, but the 20 looking for clean air. He's going to go right between the 2 of them as the 51 of Justin Fuller comes to P1 here. He's going to lead lap number 60.
And Fuller able to complete that pass, but this is pretty much a 3-way battle for the lead. Schildhouse now looking underneath Tyler Dalton, and Dalton's going to slide back to 3rd. Now, again, our 2nd and 1st place position holder in the standings right now, battling 1 and 2. Schildhouse nearly pushing the 51 down into the quarter entry. Single filed out as they roll out the quarter. New leader Justin Fuller leading his first laps of the night here as we approach past the halfway point here tonight in Kansas for the Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series here on turn 1. Everybody else out back for the top 10, single filed out. You're not missing anything else. Stephen Miles, he was involved in a little bit of drama earlier, got the back of that car settled in. He's currently running 15th. Jason Karlovac 16th. Mike Montesi, Patrick Colby. He is sitting alongside Nelson Rivera. And Kevin, this is actually a really good point to make. We've not heard a lot out of that 22 car. It seems like, just like we saw David Schildhouse maybe take a little bit of a hiatus for having trouble finding some pace, the 22 seems to be struggling as well.
Yeah, that is the funny thing about a season. Every once in a while you get on a hot streak where you start to get it going, and then you run into a couple tracks where for some reason it's your Achilles heel and you just can't seem to put the runs together. And what you'd really like is just to muster a decent finish so that you can salvage what you had, a little of that mojo, and get it going again. And every once in a while we see a flash of brilliance out of some of these drivers, and then other times we see them struggle through the season.
Out front, not struggling to lead so far. Here's the 51 of Fuller, but Schildhouse just got a great drive off. He's going to be closing in within half a car length there. Not going to be able to do anything with it, though. And I think this is where we're starting to see maybe those aero issues, those aero dependencies start to come to play with these next-gen Cup cars as Tyler Dalton, our leader and pole sitter, up until just about 4 or 5 laps ago. He is now having to fight to hold off Kevin DeBrown, and this is what the 19 has done pretty much all season long. It's shown really big flashes of speed, but not able to see it through long term now. He is fighting to stay in the top 3 with DeBrown closing right in on the bumper there. Speaking of, or back behind DeBrown and bumpers, there's Wesley Donaldson. He has settled into P5. Mark Jorgensen Jr. sitting P6. Bentley Glaser, Chad Coleman, Thomas George, and Anthony Calatoni round out the top 10.
It's just we should make a note. This is race number 28 of a 33 race season, and currently we are at Kansas after David Schildhouse pulled down the win of the first segment for the championship. It's New Hampshire, Kansas, Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Oval, and Las Vegas to close out this round. And then we go to the 14 drivers that will roll through. I'm wrong. It's 37 races. We end at Homestead, Miami, but all these drivers want to be the 8 drivers, the Elite 8 that starts November 4th and goes to the final championship for the season. And right now, I'll tell you, every driver is kind of both measuring each race and they're measuring where they stand in the championship. They want to get the best finish, but they're also looking at what it means for the overall championship. They need to be in that 8 in order to be the 2025 champion.
Alongside there, Mark Jorgensen's Wesley Donaldson. Those two are battling it out, and that's for that top 5 spot. And Kevin, you're exactly right. It's not about where you finish, but you've got to be consistent each and every week. You could be a couple of these drivers don't have wins on the season, and you can still run in that top 8, no problem, but it requires a ton of consistency. And ultimately, I would be shocked if we don't see these top 2 in that Elite 8 group, but anything is possible. We saw Schildhouse, he's actually recovered from that down slump he had, and certainly now showing some really decent pace in P2. Justin Fuller has turned it on over the summer as well, and I see it each and every week. He'll tell you he hates this car. He does not like how it drives at all. But somewhere, somehow, in Justin Fuller's brain, he has found a way to get this machine to do things that others can't, at least consistently. And he has led a bunch of races here down the summer stretch, led a bunch of laps, and ultimately looking to lead and continue to lead the championship. But right now, sitting just 8 points back as we come into tonight, right behind David Schildhouse for that championship. Meanwhile, we look a little further back here. Another strong night again for Wesley Donaldson. We've talked about him a couple times. He's up 22 spots, currently sitting 6th. And at 91, Donaldson, I would say another one of those drivers who has put together some runs all but about the last 5%. We've seen him be involved in a couple of incidences that have taken him out of what could have been some checkered flags and some trophies in the season for him. He's currently sitting 6th back here so far tonight at Kansas, and what looks like it's shaping up to be the longest green flag run of the night as these leaders work around the 95. We see Cody Harris down on the apron, limping around here again, just trying to salvage some type of decent finish here tonight at Kansas.
Yeah, right now it looks like it's time for drivers to settle in, but I saw a little slip out of the 51, and guess what? The 20 capitalized on that. The 51 loose out of turn number 2, had to chase the car down to the apron. Somewhat what we saw out of the 81 of Josh Parker earlier. Maybe got those tires just a little bit hot, but unfortunately for Fuller, what was a 6-car length lead is now a 6-car length gap as David Schildhouse has come to point here in Kansas.
Yeah, new leader David Schildhouse, lap number 72. Again, we work just past the halfway point of tonight's Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series right here on Turn 1. Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Fitz alongside Kevin England. Thanks so much for being here. If you haven't already done so, please do us a favor, like the stream, say hello in the Facebook or YouTube chat where you're watching. We'd love to hear from the Sim 500 fans as we see David Schildhouse continues to lead here in the middle of this race. And keep in mind, this whole entire top 5, everybody came down on pit road lap 35. So they've got about 30, we'll call it 28 green flag laps or so on these Goodyears. And again, starting to close in on what has been the longest green flag run of the night. These cars are starting to change in ways they've not felt yet. Not only is the tire starting to wear, the fuel load starting to get lighter, so they're going to start to tighten up just a little bit, not rotate as well as they would like. All factors here as they start to spread out. You see Jorgensen enter on the high line there, trying to run down Kevin DeBrown there for that top 5. Kevin, I believe from a fuel run perspective, we probably would have to see these drivers down around lap 100. If you're one of those drivers in this top 5 situation, what are you thinking about here? Do you just settle in and know you need to be there at the very end as we see Jorgensen and DeBrown get tight there? Or do you push as hard as you possibly can, knowing that everybody is going to have to come down one more time?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you're just going to run as smooth a lap as you can, try to save your tires, be fast on the long run, be consistent, and go as far as you can. The farther you can get, the farther you'll stretch that fuel mileage. And the drivers know seconds on pit road matter. And if you could run another lap longer than everybody else and spend less time on pit road, of course, the counter to that is go get fresh tires as we see the 93 peel off and try this alternative strategy. Maybe he could put that to work, as tires right now, especially if you pit earlier, like as soon as you can make it on fuel, you might be able to use the speed delta to do your advantage. But everybody else, I think, is going to run as far as they can and spend as little time fueling up on the pit road exchange to try and get track position.
Yeah, we saw this strategy play out last night in the Sunday Night Surge Series, where stopping right at the edge of the fuel window, taking those tires and letting them lean into the advantage. Josh Parker's also in his box, so Kevin DeBrown's going to come out a lap down, but he's going to have what it will amount to be about a second or about 1.2 second advantage on tires over this field. As wow, we saw a little bit of contact. I believe that was out of the 51 of Justin Fuller. He is driving everything he can out of that 51. But I tell you what, if this stays green, this could pay dividends for Josh Parker and Kevin DeBrown, especially if they can keep it out of trouble.
Yeah, going back to that hit we just witnessed from the 51, there's a scuff and there's a bump and then there's a where it knocks the wind out of you kind of hit, and you hope you're pulling off of that and not going to end up with a little bit of damage to the car. And that 51 really side-swiped it pretty well there, but I think he's going to be nonetheless for wear. Is now we're going to watch this 93. He's going to be on a tear. He should be so much faster than everybody else, but what he's praying for is this to run through. What is the challenge for the 93 is, if you do this alternative strategy and the caution comes out, you at least want to be in the lucky dog position, and he's not in that spot right now. He needs to get to the 95, which he should be able to do, but it's a couple of tedious laps for him as he goes underneath Ron Holifield and now pulls up to the back bumper of Randy Yoakum. He can see the 95 out there in front of him, the red car entering turn number 1. If Kevin DeBrown can clear him and the caution comes out, he'll be okay. We won't say great, but at least okay as the lucky dog. And this is going to change every lap, though, Sean, as drivers go to pit road. We saw the 22 of Nelson Rivera pull off. Right now, Nelson Rivera is holding down that lucky dog spot on the scoring monitor as the 93 dispatches of the 95.
Yeah, down pit road. We also see Josh Parker. I think he's got some damage or something's going on there. Unfortunately, Parker down pit road for what is unscheduled stops. And yeah, this pit strategy is going to play out. Oh, and there it is. There's a caution. It's coming out. And it looks like Bentley Glazer spun it down the backstretch. And Kevin, this may turn some of that strategy on its head for some of these drivers.
Well, and you have to wonder if the 93 is only a couple laps in and he's going to have this track position. If he's got the fuel to go, then he may be in catbird seat as, yeah, how about this caution is going to change everything. He just got loose up off the corner. And like we've seen them try to save the car to keep from sliding back out, the 36 comes to a stop over there on the racetrack.
Locking all 4 down. Glazer is going to fall back to 23rd, and hopefully he's able to keep it out of traffic. We've seen several drivers do that, spin it up out of turn 2 and really make contact with that wall and have to take it to the inside. Unfortunately, Glazer able to get stopped, or fortunately for Glazer, able to get stopped before coming back across traffic. I imagine this will bring everybody down. This has a chance to be everybody's last stop of the night. And it's going to be led by David Shieldhouse, the 51 of Fuller. A little bit of a tap there coming down pit road. Let's take a look here. I believe we were going to look at, Nelson Rivera. He is going to stay out. Same with Eric Arnold. They're going to stay out. But who are we going to look for here? It was going to be Kevin DeBrown.
Yeah, Kevin's going to be the lucky dog. I need to correct that. He's going to end up starting end of longest line, be on the lead lap. But unfortunately for him, this strategy is going to bite him.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it is all shaking out. DeBrown here, he is going to start, what is that going to be, Kevin? That's going to be the end of the longest line there, right? He's going to get the lucky dog spot, but he's still going to have to work through all the traffic and really, more importantly, there are all the new tires.
Yeah, I have to ask you if you could do it to go back and watch that race off of pit road. Maybe go to the car. Let's see. Let's go to the Chad Coleman car for exit of pit road. I don't even know who won that battle. It looks like the 20 is slotting in there, but they were 4, maybe even 5 wide coming across the stripe there, trying to figure out who was going to be in that position.
Yeah, did a little bit of the rewind action. Oh, they were 3 wide for sure. I'm going to say Jorgensen had that spot. It was Shieldhouse, Donaldson, Coleman was in the mix. That was nearly a 5 wide battle off of pit road.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Like Donaldson was going to be scored with P2. Coleman, Shieldhouse, Jorgensen Jr. Your top 5 with Justin Fuller leading. That is a surprise there. Justin came down pit road P2. Looking at the pit times in the box, a 14:58, 2/10 of a second, or sorry, 2/100ths of a second faster than the driver behind him, but a slow stop out of David Shieldhouse, Kevin, a 15:58 for that driver. That's going to ultimately net him restarting back there in 4th.
Yeah, and I watched Justin Fuller drop into his box. I wondered if anybody was going to do 2 tires here. I don't know that would be the way to go here, but it was 4 tires and fuel for the 51, so it really wasn't pit strategy from that standpoint. It's just a matter of how they got into the box, and Justin Fuller was on the mark.
That's one thing I think we could see oftentimes out of the 51 is execution on all the technicals. Well, he's got to have a restart here of all restarts tonight. He's going to be alongside Donaldson. It's Coleman back behind him. Into the restart zone they go. They're going to see the green flag. We're back racing lap 84 of 130 at Kansas.
And again, a terrible restart for that top line as the bottom 3 get away. The 20 of Shieldhouse. Not a popular move, but he cut left and filled the gap. He's going to slide into 4th as the rest of the drivers from the outside is hard contact. I think we're going to stay green, but who was that, Macklin, that hit the wall there?
It did look like Brian Macklin. Indeed it was. He smacked the wall pretty hard there. That right side's got to be killed, but he's going to lose a ton of spots. Not the result, not the restart that Macklin wanted, but so far this is working out for Justin Fuller out front. By the way, hello P2, that's the 88. Mark Jorgensen Jr. working his way up to the front.
Yeah, we know this driver was going to be a force tonight, and I'll tell you, now that he's got the track position, I wonder if they can get away from him. We saw on those long runs that he had equaled the speed of everybody else, but not the track position. Now sitting here in second, I think he's a legitimate threat as the 30 car. We just went back and took a peek at what it looked like. It just broke loose. He had the extreme edge of grip coming up off the corner, and it smacked that right side tire. And I have to wonder if his car is done for tonight. He has to have significant damage, and the Lung Force Toyota is just limping around here, hoping maybe he can catch a caution.
It is a battle, big battle. Donaldson goes around.
There it is.
Well, that was the O'Rourke. That was Donaldson.
O'Rourke, yeah.
And he's going to have it backwards coming back on the track. Can he get it stopped? Oh, no. And the caution's going to come out.
Yeah, it's really a matter of the car going by him. I think it was the 95 was the last car as he was sitting down there, and when he squirted up on the apron, if he'd have grabbed the gear and drove away when nobody was there, I don't think we would have had a caution. And nothing you could do there if you're EJ. But that moment when that car went by, they had to throw the.
Gonna bring the caution out. EJ O'Rourke spins off a 4, and this is going to allow him to re-rack with another restart. We're going to cover that and more as we come back here. Justin Fuller leads. You're watching Turn 1. Wrapping up the 6th caution of the night here, Justin Fuller, Mark Jorgensen Jr., David Schildhouse, Chad Coleman, Wesley Donaldson, your top 5. And now, Schildhouse, he got caught on that outside last restart. It sent him back a couple positions, but now he's going to be right there behind Justin Fuller. He can be gaining those right back. We'll see how this all shakes out. We'll also keep a close eye on the 91 of Donaldson. He is going to be on the inside there, and that he could certainly be a factor here into this top 3 as we get ready to go back green flag racing. Pace car is going to head down pit road, right down into the restart zone. The green flag back out, back underway here at Kansas, but Fuller, he doesn't get away, and that outside line led by Mark Jorgensen has one of the best restarts of the night as they head off into 2.
Yeah, Fuller is out. The 20 is clear. The 88's going to tuck in there for 3rd after brushing the wall, and behind them, it's a dogfight. Don't give that 88 the position yet, though. Look at the run that the 38 and the 91 have as Donaldson comes to the slot there and clears the 88 out back. It's side by side. We haven't said this for quite a while, but what a job it is to race out in the back of this pack. I see one of the cars Yeah, right there, the 60 car. Just an amazing recovery for Jason Karlovac. He's shown so much speed in the second half of this season. He had troubles really early in this race, and he's starting to make a little noise as he climbs his way back in, currently just outside the top 10.
And it looks like Tyler Dalton, he's in a sandwich there between Patrick Colby, that's Stephen Miles and Joe Hudson. Those two drivers have got the 19, our pole sitter, and led a bunch of laps here tonight. Dalton holding on for dear life in that 8th place spot. A little bit of, not the run so far I think Dalton would like to have. Meanwhile, up front, battling for the lead, David Schildhouse alongside Justin Fuller. We knew with Schildhouse down on the bottom, he was going to have a strong restart, and that's going to set him up. He's going to lead this lap and continue to challenge on the outside as they head off into 1.
Yeah, I mean, this is Ali Frazier, and just an amazing heavyweight bout as the top two drivers in the series seem to be finding each other on the race week in and week out. And right now, it is physically a dead heat going down the back straightaway as the two tussle to be the king of this series. And I saw the 20 blink away here, but the 51, he is not to be denied. He drove physically deeper into the corner in turn 3 and comes out with the lead. The 51 of Justin Fuller asserts his authority and steals the lead back from David Schildhouse. Now will Schildhouse mount a charge and try to counter?
Yeah, I imagine that reeks right there of the 20 seeing that blink himself, and maybe check it up just a little bit. No matter what you say as a driver, as the caution's going to come out, if you see that blink happen to yourself or you see the field disappears, it is certainly jarring. As Jason Karlovac, oh no, we were just talking about him. He has spun around backwards here just under the Menard side.
That wasn't a curse on our doing there.
Yeah, the commentator curse. Oh, wow. Nelson Rivera getting a piece of that too, but what even started this? Let's do another rewind here. This is another turn 2 incident here, Kevin, in the making. Moves up, tags the 23, dives down to the inside. An incredible slide there, but just trying to balance it out, just can't get it slowed up. Man, nowhere to go for the 22, and I'm not sure who else that was. That unfortunately going to be probably the end of the night for a couple drivers.
Yeah, no, that's a difference in what we saw earlier in the race. We saw one car slide off the corner and just slam the brakes and come to a stop down there and draw the caution. For Karlovac, he got sideswiped by Joe Hudson there, and I didn't see whether that was one fault or the other, but the two of them made contact, and Karlovac tried to chase it all the way down. And maybe he thought somewhere midway down the back straightaway he had control of it, but unfortunately for him, it came back across the racetrack. And not only did it hit the 22 of Jason LaRue, but the LaRue number 22 of Nelson Rivera. He cleaned out the 96 of Gerald Livingston, who just had no place to go, was trapped up against that outside wall, and Livingston took a pretty significant hit in that number 6.
Kevin DeBrown coming off pit road. This is a move I thought we expected to see DeBrown make last time under caution, but he's going to put 4 on and some fuel and going to come out. It's not going to really be no worse for wear. He's going to come out 23rd with those new tires. This will be interesting to see how this all shakes out for him. Meanwhile, Justin Fuller, David Schildhouse is going to have to start on an outside road 2. Outside row 1, then it's Jorgensen, Donaldson, Coleman, your top 5. We'll step aside here for about 60 seconds here watching turn 1. re-racked and ready to go here. The pace car is going to duck down pit road. Justin Fuller, David Schildhouse, side by side. And in the restart zone they go. The green flag back out. Lap 100 of 130. And it's about to be go time here for a lot of these drivers. Fuller gets a great restart there. He's going to bring Mark Jorgensen into the P2 mix here down on that bottom line. Schildhouse did not get the greatest of restarts, and he's going to feel a little bit of pressure here. Chad Coleman is going to chase him down the inside as they head down the backstretch. And then meanwhile, Donaldson and Stephen Miles, what a recovery for the 24. Stephen Miles up into the top 5 as the race starts to come to a close. They come across the stripe. That's 30 to go here remaining for the Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series on turn 1.
24 of Stephen Miles down there on the bottom trying to make a little track position as he's been clawing for that all night long here. A good restart for the 51, but it's all for naught as we have caution on the speedway. It looks like trouble for the number 28 over in turn 3.
Yeah, Patrick Colby took a ride out of turn 2. This what it looks like. Oh, he may have had a little bit of help. He certainly did. Got spun around there off of 2. Who was that? That was Eric Arnold making contact there with Patrick Colby, sending him around off the exit of 2. I tell you what, that has been a problematic place, that exit of turn 2 there. Meanwhile, Justin Fuller did not want to see that caution come out. I feel like he had the field covered there at least for another couple laps. And now we're going to heat cycle those tires one more time. We're going to step aside again here under the 8th caution tonight at Kansas. You're watching turn 1. Justin Fuller, Mark Jorgensen Jr., David Schildhouse, Chad Coleman, Wesley Donaldson, your top 5 as they get ready to go back green flag racing. And going to go back with about, we'll call it 26 to go here. The pace car is going to dip down. And another restart for this group here who is, I tell you what, they're getting pretty good at this. Green flag back out. Fuller, Jorgensen, another strong start out of that 88 as he's able to hang on to that outside line as they roll off into 1.
Yeah, I want to say this is the best restarts we've seen from that outside lane, who've been at a disadvantage all the time. And the 88 still holding second. Schildhouse is right there. And unfortunately, we found a little trouble out of turn 2 one more time as the pace car pulls out of its holding position down there at the end of pit road. Pick up Justin Fuller here as he comes around to the start finish.
Not exactly sure where that may have come from. Not seeing a logged incident here on iRacing, so unsure. But nonetheless,
Would that be the 98 maybe?
The 98.
Yeah, the 98 had a little trouble off of turn 2. Got a quarter panel. Turned from the 31 car. Went for a little loop-de-loo down there on inside apron off of turn 2 to bring out that caution.
Eric Arnold not finding many friends out on track here as of late. He was having a really decent night before it all went sideways on him, and he's back there battling in that 26th spot. Looking back up front, Justin Fuller, another opportunity. This is going to give Jorgensen and Kevin. I want to go back to that point you made. This has been some of the best restarts on the night, and it's all come as Mark Jorgensen has led that outside line. That certainly seems to be a factor here for some of these drivers.
And then Jorgensen just somehow is on the beat. You know, when you're trying to get that restart to the outside and get it sorted, he's got the timing down. We know by interviewing him, Sean, that he's very frenetic is the word I used to describe him. He is super passionate. And I'm just envisioning him sitting in his sim rig getting ready for this restart. You know, I can only imagine that the split second timing he's trying to bring to pass with his racecraft there.
You described it perfectly. It's definitely charismatic in a way. It's very unique to that 88 card. I don't know. It's either one of two ways. Either he is charged up the entire time, or he's incredibly focused until it's all said and done. But I have a feeling it's the latter there with Mark Jorgensen currently sitting P2. Another driver that's on a nice recovery here, that's Steven Miles. He's currently sitting 6th after having a couple different issues. That car actually had a bit of damage on it at one point or another. That's got smoothed out. Anthony Calatoni in that 84 Talking Giants Chevrolet also having a consistent run here to hanging around the top 10. But Kevin, another really decent night for Thomas George. He is driving with the number 6, currently running 8th, and we've talked about him over the last couple weeks. He's found some pace here as of late as well.
I mean, in the beginning of the season, when you join a new group, you try and figure out who the players are, how they race, and how the dynamic of the league runs. And every one of them has their own fingerprint. For someone like Thomas George, it might take them half the season to kind of figure out how do you play this game against the rest of the drivers. Lately, whatever has been going on, that 6 camp has figured out the dynamic of these races and made himself a factor. And when we typically see this, we start to see them emerge at the end of the season, and then we know they sign on next season. They'll be a top 10 cars. You and I, we have our little pet project here. We're trying to watch where Kevin DeBrown is after he pitted for tires. He's sitting in 14th after this restart, and we'll see if he can come forward.
Yeah, that's going to be a story to certainly watch as we get back green flag racing here. 22 to go. Fuller out front, free and clear, but Jorgensen's hanging on that outside, but Coleman's going to duck in early. That's going to leave Jorgensen as the only driver in the top 5 on that high line. Fuller's going to move up They're going to drive off the corner. Shieldhouse now digging underneath the 88, trying to grab that P2 spot.
Oh, we got one sideways, the 88. What a save. Incredible. And now he gets tagged and slams the wall as the 6 of George got into him, and he's going to add injury to insult. What a shame to see such a bad run. The car smoking with significant motor damage, and I think that's going to end the night. Unfortunately, again, for Mark Jorgensen, after an amazingly strong run, just gets cleaned out there out of turn number 3, and the 88 car is looking a little bit pinball-like there as he is wounded rolling down the racetrack.
Yeah, he had it caught, and then the 6 come up through there, and I don't know if it was going to be the 88 or the 6, one of the two that was going to have a sideways moment there. The 68 or the 60 or the 6 just did not lift. He held on to that spot. It was just irony that we were just talking about Thomas George, and he's actually looked like he's going to have a little bit of right side damage potentially on that front side there, but he was trying to hold off and not get into Joe Hudson, and Jorgensen just had got it caught up. I tell you what, that's just an unfortunate racing incident, but that all started with Jorgensen getting loose in the middle of the corner there, and now we have seen that all too often. One thing, though, we have seen is a bunch of restarts here. And Justin Fuller's going to have another chance at one with about 18 to go. Kevin, how do you feel like this is going to put the 20 car now on the outside of that front row? We have seen him be very quietly fast all night tonight. And David Shieldhouse, obviously, winning in the spring. He had those comments. He knew he was going to be talking to us. He walked in here with a little bit of confidence here tonight. Hasn't needed to lead every lap, but I think he's holding a little bit of something in the bank there for the last couple laps.
Yeah, we'd love to get in the head of the top 2 here, decide whether they like this, and I think it's giving them better opportunity to potentially outmaneuver each other, or whether they want to see this thing go green and they're finding themselves at a disadvantage. We still have 20 laps of action to go, which I think is quite a bit. If these drivers could settle in and get a clean restart, run 4 or 5 laps, I believe we're going to get it. And, I have to go back and look at what the 88 did. On the entry to turn 3, he started to turn down into his lane, and then for whatever reason, the 20 was there, and it almost looked like he flinched and wanted to turn the car away to make sure he didn't make contact with the 20 car. You look from the back of the car, watch him go in here. He turns in here, and then he turns back up the racetrack, and when he turned back up, the car came out and he grabbed that slide, but unfortunately for him, he just didn't carry enough speed, and he got sideswiped by the 6 and then the 17.
We talked about not upsetting the car, and that is a perfect example of the car, that little bit of a jerk, that little bit of a move, that hesitation out of Jorgensen there, unsettling the car, loading it up and unloading it very quickly on that banking, causing that car to step out sideways before he had to get out of it to catch it. And ultimately, that is a tough go for all involved, both the 88, the 6. We saw, like I said, Joe Hudson, the 23, also kind of playing a part in that, and ultimately not the night that Mark Jorgensen will want to come out of here with, I am sure. He's down pit road and laps down already. Pace car lights are off.
I'm feeling guilty there, Sean, because it's a curse.
You know what? That's true.
I talked about the 6. I cost the 88. I'm not going to say a word. You're right.
The 60 of Karlovage, we did the same thing. The pace car down pit road, Justin Fuller, David Shieldhouse. They're going to re-rack it here. 18 to go. And that outside line, Shieldhouse trying to hang on. Not as great of a restart as we saw the 88 out there, but not anywhere near as bad as it has been. But Coleman is going to be underneath the 20 there, digging off of turn number 2, and here comes Anthony Calatoni as well.
A great late race run here by the Talking Giants Chevrolet. Calatoni down there in the 4th position, falling in the tire tracks of the 38. 38 looked a little bit loose coming up off the corner, trying to hold the car down as the 51 slices down to the apron in order to break the draft. Still side by side for second, with Calatoni trying to figure out who's going to get the advantage. It should be a good run off that high line for the 20 of David Shieldhouse going down the straightaway. straightaway, though, it's still side by side with a little bit of an advantage for the 20.
Yeah, Coleman's not going to let this get out of his teeth just yet. He knows he's only got a few laps left. There's been a rash of cautions. Those cautions certainly have bred cautions. And Coleman here hanging on to that the left side of David Schildhouse as we've got cars slicing and dicing all over the racetrack. Meanwhile, Justin Fuller just ran his fastest lap of the race. A 30.26. That's the fastest lap throughout the entire field. The 51 looking for a little bit more speed here before it's all said and done. And now David Schildhouse able to break away from the 38. They're all going to fall in line. And now start marching forward to run down Fuller 0.6 of a second ahead.
That turned up the wick there on that restart was the 91 of Wesley Donaldson. Went to the high side in turn 2 and got a good run up off the corner. He pulled up to the back bumper of Chad Coleman. Not so successful that time by. Slides back a little bit and opens the door for the 84 of Calantoni. Calantoni running right through the middle, which is not supposed to work very well here. But the 91 gets loose out of 4 and Calantoni comes to 4th. So I love the fact that they're running. Look at all the lanes they're running as they come in. Oh, there's contact for the 19. That's not going to work as the 5 of Koger gets in. Where did Koger come from?
I don't know, but Donaldson's going around out of 2. Wesley Donaldson, again, commentator curse.
I didn't do it.
Wreaking havoc on the field, and he's going to spit out and bring the caution here again for the 11th time tonight. Man, I tell you what, Kevin, you mentioned it, everybody's turned it up just a smidge here, and man, that was a wild run of laps here, but this is more importantly something to think about. They're going to come back green flag racing with about 11 to go. Justin Fuller, David Schildhouse is going to be on that outside line. Chad Coleman's going to be P3, Calatoni, and Stephen Miles going to round out the top 5. I don't know how much more wild it can get at this rate.
Yeah, I know. Looking at that, coming back, they were 3 and 4 wide there, and that started with a bump to the 24. And when the 5 chased it up the racetrack, he just made that incidental contact. And then the 91 got sideswiped the same way we saw the 88. And I don't know, he might even have a broken toe link in the rear side.
Yeah, a lot of the damage doesn't look too bad, but with the suspension is so sensitive in these next gen cars, it could certainly be a factor. Kevin, we talked about that little project that we talked about it at the break. Kevin DeBrown, well, guess what? He is back up to 7th, and he's got those newer tires. It's about 15 lap better than everybody around him. If this goes green here towards the end, does that play a factor? Could he walk himself into a top 3?
Yeah, I think he can. I think if he can make the track position work and keep executing, one thing that car should be able to do is carve through the corner with the tires that he has compared to everybody else. And don't underestimate the ability for the car to turn and how much of an advantage it is. Well, we saw the 91 as an example go through the corner. And when he turned in, the car just 4-wheel slide all the way through the racetrack, trying to control getting the exit right, so when he came off the corner, he was pointed in the right place. The difference would be the 93 would just stick in the line that he chose, and then the car would hook up and drive up off the bottom. So you have to wonder if Kevin DeBrown has the advantage here. We don't know, one thing, how hard he's run to get to this position, but with these rash of cautions, he's been able to probably sneak a position every single caution and not have to run down space because he's been on the back bumper of every car on all. So I'd keep an eye on that 93. I don't think he's out of it by a long shot.
Losing Kevin a little bit there, but nonetheless.
Oh, wait. Hold on, Sean. That 93 is terrible. It's the worst car on the racetrack. He doesn't stand a chance. I'm just trying to counter the first.
Yeah. No, we won't. Kevin, we won't mention you, and we're sorry for talking about you for about the last 90 seconds or so. Oh, Justin Fuller, David Schildhouse, get it re-racked. And I tell you what, that 20 car and no children over on twitch.tv/Schildhouse, they've got to be ready to see these restarts come to an end. He has been on that outside line more often than not, and needs a clean one here with Chad Coleman. Remember, Coleman held up. We won't call it held up, but certainly hung on to the left side of Schildhaus during that last restart, and it was not quick to let it go. That let Justin Fuller get out there. Well, we're running out of time to be able to run down Justin Fuller, especially with the speed he's put down. Keep in mind, he ran the fastest lap of the race out of any of these drivers just 3 laps or 4 laps ago. So Justin Fuller still finding pace in that 51 Cooks Landscape Group Cup car. Any chance he could get. Down into the restart zone they go. The green flag back out. They're going to come across the stripe. That's 10 to go here in Kansas.
A great restart for the 51, and again on the bottom line, the 20 cuts back down on the bottom. It's Stephen Miles following him through. Out there on the outside is Cal Tony trying to make it as the 38 spins off of the corner, and he's going to be so far down that I don't think he's going to draw a caution. We didn't talk about Chad Coleman at all, so I don't feel bad about that. I do feel terrible for Chad, of course, but
yeah, that looked like it may have been a little bit of contact out of the 20 car there, getting into the back of Coleman. That was we saw Schildhaus move down to the bottom, right in line. Either way, we stay green here, and it is a big battle back here for third. That's Anthony Calatoni, Stephen Miles, and there's DeBrown in the mix. Right on the bottom, 3 wide as they work through 3 and 4. Things are going to get tight here on the front stretch. DeBrown's on the bottom. Calatoni's going to try to slide away here, but Stephen Miles is going to keep that top spot there as we work 8 laps to go.
Yeah, DeBrown with those fresh tires, able to carve the bottom just like we saw. He's starting trying to clear the cars. We see one more car sliding off the back. Oh yeah, contact for the 23. That would be actually the 49 of Joe Hudson sliding down there. Hasn't drawn a caution yet as he's off the racetrack. He's going to drive away from it. Let's pick this battle back up for a third is Kevin DeBrown trying to chase down the 84 of Calantoni. About shoved him into turn number 1, and then the car got a little. He had to collect it. These drivers come around back, and they see that smoke in the air as now the caution comes out. They're wondering what the heck is going on as it looks like troubles for the number 8 of Randy Yoakum.
Yoakum spun around on the entrance there of turn number 3, and I imagine this probably started off that transition. Oh, no, he may have had a little bit of help. That was Logan Coger deep into the bumper. Let's do a little bit more of a rewind here as they roll off the corner, roll off of 2. Yoakum comes up. Oh, yep. He was not quite clear there, and that's going to collect, I believe that was Coger there, and that's going to send Randy Yoakum around. And that's going to bring it out in a position where we will probably come back with about 4 to go. And one thing there was so much happening we didn't get a chance to talk about. David Schildhaus starting to run down Justin Fuller there those last couple laps. Even though Fuller was fastest by about a tenth or so, I don't think we've seen the end of the battle here for the lead before this is all said and done, Kevin.
Now, and there's been times in the past where we've seen contact with these two who are not willing to yield to try and get the victory. Both of them need to get a good finish here and see the big picture of it, but both of them are obviously somebody who wants to have a win, and they've been in a tight battle for this all season long. Who is the dominant driver? And for the 51 car, from a win standpoint, if he puts another win in, he's getting closer to tying where they stand from that standpoint is 10 wins for Schildhaus, 7 wins for Fuller. This could be number 8, and certainly by the end of the year, Fuller could even it up. And I'm sure that's got to be somewhere in the back of your mind, don't you think, Sean?
It has to be. It certainly has to be. I mean, obviously only 8 points separate these two drivers from a point standing right now, but a win would be really good to put in the bank. Schildhaus won last week. Felt like he was really confident coming into the night, already winning 1 time here in Kansas in the season, so looking to bring in the full season sweep here in the Midwest, and he's sitting P2 right now. But I would be more concerned if I were David Shieldhouse. That outside line on that restart has been really tough, but the driver of the 20 car has the most experience out there right now, and we saw him do something a little different that last time by, in that last restart. He picked that bottom line, or he had the high line rather, but quickly got down to the bottom line before they got out of turn number 2, and that certainly seemed to stop the fall backwards in position. But he's going to have a new contender up there to battle with. That's Anthony Calatoni. He's up 2 spots on the night. He's going to be P3 and on the inside. And if Calatoni gets a good spot and Brown's going to start 4th, I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot of place for Shieldhouse to go. This is going to be a tight battle up here once this restart fires off.
Yeah, and we have to remember earlier in the season, Calatoni had one get away from him as he passed under the yellow line, and they took that win away after we interviewed him. He would love to put a win in the column. He thinks he's already got one. This would make 2 on the season, and that would make a great result for the Talking Giants number 84 driver out of New Jersey. But again, you know, look at the catbird seat. We talked about that 93 and the strategy he played. He got caught 1 lap down, had to take a lucky dog, but he's yielded that into freshest tires of the top group. Now, we've not seen a good restart yet out of that top line, but there's probably enough laps for the 93 to get the job done if he can really assert himself here after this restart.
Everything is possible. I mean, keep in mind, Tyler Dalton, our pole sitter, he led the first 50 or so laps. He's sitting right there, P5. Stephen Miles has always got speed, and he's up there in the top 6. It is anybody's race in the top 10 at this rate. Pace car down pit road. They're going to come to the restart zone one more time. 4 laps to go, or 3 laps to go here in Kansas. Fuller gets a rolling. Shieldhouse hangs on to that outside line as we got cars spinning, and it's going to bring the caution out.
Yeah, this is going to bring us to overtime as problems out in the back. Joe Hudson got around, and he's going to limp away. I think he's going to be able to. This is some sort of checkup situation, I'm sure. Oh, no.
That?
Coleman, huh?
Yeah, I'm a little stunned at that, to be honest with you, because I don't know what the outcome, any other outcome could have been there. Let's take another quick look. I think Coleman knew he was about to get into the back of, I'm not sure who that was there, but maybe moved up and just wasn't clear.
Yeah, that would be the 22.
Yeah, it looked like he had a pretty decent start on the folks in front of him, and ultimately going to collect Joe Hudson there. Both 2 drivers, the 38 as well as Joe Hudson in that 23 car. Not the night they were looking to wrap up the results from here at Kansas. We're going to step aside for just a second as we're going to get ready to roll into NASCAR overtime. You're watching Turn 1. we're headed to NASCAR overtime. Let's talk about that really quick for those in the back who've maybe not seen some overtime racing before. They're going to take the green flag next time by here. Justin Fuller's going to get them rolling. If they make it all the way back around to see the white flag, then they race to the checkered. If, for whatever reason, though, they don't make it around clean at speed, all the way back around to the white flag before they see the caution, we'll re-rack it and try to run it all the way to the checkered flag again. So this could be interesting, and a couple names to talk about, some notables. We've talked about them, but it's just even more important now. Kevin DeBrown has worked himself up to third. Anthony Calatoni, he's sitting right behind the 20 car. Stephen Miles, Tyler Dalton swap spots on this restart. So still the same players up front, but David Comstock is also a driver we've not talked about tonight. He's sitting 7th. Mike Matesi sitting 8th. Bobby Wetzel 10th. This could be anybody's race here as we're back. Green flag racing. NASCAR overtime is live here in Kansas. Justin Fuller gets them rolling, but it is a dogfight, and DeBrown digging on the inside underneath of David Schildhouse.
And 93 wants to slide up here and clear the position. He's not able to do it. Schildhouse with a good run to the outside. He's going to draw alongside in the entry to turn 3. DeBrown get a good run. He's carving that white line. Car's going to be a little tight down here on entry. That should be advantage Schildhouse, as 51 loves to see this battle side by side. Schildhouse closes down and takes that to second position as Fuller is out front by 6 car lengths.
Those new tires of DeBrown is going to be what brings Justin Fuller peace of mind as he comes down the backstretch. No pressure out back. He's just got to make it 2 more quarters right down to that bottom line. The 51 car, he's going to make up 25 spots, come across the line, and he's going to be your winner here tonight at Kansas.
I'll tell you, I watched that dogfight for a third, and I can't tell you who actually got it. I think Calatoni may have done it right there at the beginning. He and the 93 were bumping doors going down the straightaway, and I can't tell you it was a photo finish as to who got third, but what an outstanding race for Justin Fuller. He had him covered, stayed out front, and he just wasn't going to yield, and gets another victory on the season.
Yeah, Justin Fuller ran his fastest lap of the race, the fastest lap of all the race tonight on that last lap. An incredible run out of the 51 of the Cook Landscape Group. Toyota, as Justin Fuller's going to burn it down on a home stretch. This is going to feel really good. We'll talk to our post-race. We'll talk during post-race to our top 3 as Fuller spins it around and lets the smoke fly. We're going to step aside. You're watching Turn 1. Justin Fuller continues to burn it down here on the front stretch, but we're going to quickly talk to the driver of the 20. That's David Schildhouse. Brought home P2 here tonight. David, congratulations. I asked you at the very top of the broadcast, or right before the broadcast, that if we were going to be talking to you at the end of the night. And, hey, you nailed it. We were just 1 spot short of the big paycheck there.
Yeah, 1 spot short, but listen, man, after how things went for me this summer, I can't really complain about finishing second after winning a week ago. It looks like we got our mojo back in the 20 car. We're rolling pretty good here. I'm just sick of these races turning into restart fest, lottery after lottery after lottery on restarts, man. I had Justin dead to rights on that second to last restart. I had him beat going into 1, man. It was going to be a hell of a race through 1 and 2, but we can't have nice things, unfortunately. And so we'll settle for P2, but I'm happy with it. It was a strong run all night. I'm trying to figure out what happened between me and the 88. I got to figure that one out. But strong run, good points night, and yeah, feeling good, man. Confidence is there.
Yeah, that's good, David. We certainly can hear it in the way in your tone, but more importantly, how you're handling the car. We saw there the 93 at Kevin DeBrown. He had those newer tires up there battling alongside. Was that any factor there on that last restart and holding you up just a little bit side by side?
It's news to me that his tires were newer. I didn't even know that. So now that you tell me that, I feel even better about holding him off. I thought we were on equal stuff, and just restarting second was really hard. You were put in a bad spot. The bottom was quick for the first lap or two. But, we were able to hold him off and defend from that second lane. That first seam was really good for me tonight. I liked putting the car there. It responded, and we were able to defend. But, I raced really good with Kevin, and we can race each other hard and clean. And, but the fact that I beat him when he had fresher tires just makes me feel even better. So thanks.
No problem. David Shieldhouse bringing home P2 here tonight, coming off the win last week. And David, listen, congratulations. We appreciate you taking the time. And hey, well, let's start making this a habit. How about that?
It's one I'm happy to make. This is a repeat date I'll happily put into my calendar. Big thank you to Splash to Go Graphics, of course, for the beautiful paint scheme, man. And everybody at twitch.tv/Shieldhouse. The children had a fun night tonight. Thought we were going to get a second one for them, but they enjoyed it nonetheless. Big thanks to Cook Landscape Group. Awesome news that they're coming back to support us again next year, and good to have them back. Supporting the league means a lot. And, of course, you guys as well at Turn 1 Broadcasting for supporting us, broadcasting this thing, and really putting a good light on us. We really appreciate it, Sean. Kevin, always a pleasure to hear your commentary as well. And, yeah, we'll get together and do this again. I like that.
David Shieldhouse, P2 here tonight in Kansas. David, thank you.
Thanks, boys.
And with that, we'll hand it over to Kevin England. I believe he's going to have Anthony Calatoni on deck and cover P3. Kevin?
Here he is, Anthony Calatoni, 8 1/1000ths margin at the line to pick up the third position. Anthony, how about that race off of turn 4?
Yeah, we I sent her in there, and well, I heard my buddy Justin say this because I guess they sponsored John Boy, but the car was as fast as T-Mobile, so no, I sent it in there and prayed, and it stuck, and we rubbed a little bit, Rubbin's racing, and we ran it to the line, so.
Yeah, every once in a while, like a comfortable pair of shoes, you come to a racetrack and something just clicks, and it sure looked like tonight you had it going on here at Kansas Motor Speedway. You're plus 10 in the standings coming into tonight, and podium knocking down Kansas going into the Charlotte Oval. It's a good time to get hot.
Yeah, definitely is a good time to start picking up some momentum, especially in the playoffs. I forgot your question. I'm like half asleep here because I wake up so early. What did you ask?
Well, I was just saying we're going to go into Charlotte. You seem to have hit a hot streak, which is great. And is this the type of racetrack where it just fits your style?
That's what it was. Well, Kev, the last couple times we came here to Kansas, I think I got the pole earlier in the year here, and I don't know what it's been. It's just been a good itch, I guess, or a niche here. I ran good here the last couple years, and it's just continued. We were a little concerned with the update that iRacing did to the track. It lost some of its color there, and we thought it lost grip. And it was actually fun to drive there on that long, I think it was 40-lap run we did. But no, I'm excited to go into Charlotte. I feel like that's another good track for me. And obviously for my team, I usually run good at Charlotte. Just got to keep the tires on it, and yeah.
Yeah, I have to say, looking at it from your vantage point, you were up on the wheel all night long. It's a blast to get a chance to talk to you again, and congratulations on the finish. Anybody you want to get to?
Yeah, no. Well, I'm glad you're talking to me, and it's been a while. It's been a few months since Atlanta, and yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna have to thank Talking Giants and John Boy Media for the big sponsorship. Rebuilding Warriors is on the car, and going to give a big shout out to them. They had their their annual fundraiser here in town. They raise a lot of money for their organization, and they're going to be presenting a dog here soon. Another dog that my Elks Motorcycle Committee actually donated. We donated $15,000 to the organization last year or a year and a half ago for the whole kit and caboodle training and all for the dog for this veteran. So hopefully in the next couple months they'll be presenting the dog to the vet. Hopefully at our event in December. But gotta thank them and you guys for the broadcast, Cook's Landscaping for the sponsorship, everyone at Sim 500. Couldn't do this deal without all the help and the help from my teammates there over at Sim 500 Misfits.
There you go, Anthony Calantoni, your second place finisher, and we see your activity on social media, and we appreciate all that you do. And go celebrate that victory with your friends and family. Thanks for talking to us, Anthony. As we're going to turn now down here in Victory Lane to Justin Fuller, who picks up the win. Things in the spring were Schildhouse Fuller 1-2, and upon returning, it is now Fuller Schildhouse. That's win number 8 on the season, Justin. That's going to sound pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever won that many cup races in a season. That's for sure. It's been a good, ever since they did this build, it's been a good for me. So, still don't like the car, but it's definitely suiting me a lot better than it used to.
Talk about those restarts. Your restarts tonight, I'm sure you had to change them up or do something different, but just flawless after all the cautions, which was not expected. You were able to keep them at bay with just a bunch of hungry drivers behind us. What was your thought process as you were trying to change up every one of those restarts?
It's tough because there was the multiple restarts where it was like a different driver in second and third each time. So you definitely have to mix it up. You can't keep doing the same because eventually they're going to time it. And David did time it there that one time. So did Mark. It happens from time to time. Fortunately, I was able to run wide open down the bottom through 1 and 2 every restart. So I'm pretty confident I would clear them regardless, just because it's a shorter distance. But if they're able to time it like that and they can make it stick on the top through 1 and 2, they can get a run down the back and get to the bottom in 3 and 4. It was kind of tough to make passes up top in 3 and 4. The bottom was kind of preferred down there, at least with me. So they probably could have got by me there if they would have ever got under me in 3 and 4. So it definitely wasn't easy by any stretch of the imagination. But you just got to stay on your toes and keep everybody else on their toes as well by changing it up. I try not to go too late in the box, but sometimes you just have to.
We know from the incident count that turn 2 was a little bit tricky. You had track position most of the night, didn't get to see much of it, but talk a little bit about the differences coming off of turn 2 while these drivers have hands full.
Yeah, so we had a tailwind on the backstretch going into turn 3. So 3 and 4 was pretty tight, and the car drove really good entry through late exit or early exit of turn 2. You just had to be really careful on the late exit with the throttle and wheel inputs. It definitely was edgy, but it made it for a fun race. And made for having different lines through 1 and 2 as well. I know I ran the bottom through 1 and 2 pretty much all night long, and a couple guys ran the top. Just depending on where you were comfortable. You could get a good run off turn 2 for sure. You kind of burned the right rear up a little bit doing that though. So, but the wind definitely played a factor in that, and why I kind of drove quite a bit different on both ends of the track. The wind wasn't super bad, just enough to change the characteristic of the car on each end.
I'm not sure if you knew that you ran your fastest lap on the final lap of the race. Were you aware of that?
I was not.
Yeah, we were looking at the lap times. It looked like the lap times came up, and look at the race ahead. You got Charlotte next week, and then you got Las Vegas, which I think drives, just in general sense, a lot like this racetrack. And I think you just got to keep doing what you're doing. I don't see any. You come away with another victory here. And let's give a shout out to anybody you want to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the next few weeks. I won Charlotte earlier this season, and Vegas is probably my best track. So every time I say it's my best track, though, we end up having a bad run. So we'll see how that goes. But thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Thanks to Sim 500 and all the admins for what they do. I'll definitely go back and pick through this broadcast tomorrow a little bit while I'm at work. It was kind of fun having to come from the back, as much as I hated the fact that I had incident points at the start back there. But thanks to Cook's Landscaping Services for sponsoring the series. They're coming back next year, so that's cool. Thanks to everybody that watched. Thanks to all my teammates at Aftermath Motorsports. I'm sure I'm missing something, but nonetheless, had a lot of fun tonight until the end of the race, and just looking forward to next week, trying to get into the top 14 here, or stay in the top 14 for the next round, and see if we can win a championship.
He's been a consistent friend of ours here in these podium conversations, and nothing changes here tonight as Justin Fuller comes away with the victory here for Kansas Motor Speedway. And we're going to turn it over to Sean. And Sean, it seems like this microphone down here in Victory Lane doesn't work. I think I've been cutting out a little here, haven't I?
Yeah, just a little bit, Kevin, but we certainly heard all the gist of everything there. Nonetheless, what a wild night here at Kansas. We knew this was going to be action-packed. We knew there was going to be a lot of back and forth on the racetrack, but I don't think any of us would have thought we would have seen 12-plus cautions. The fastest lap of the race ran on the last lap. Some of the bigger names up front all night long, and some of the faster drivers marred back in the rear. But Kevin, I tell you what, it never disappoints when this group gets together, and as you mentioned, we're coming down the stripe of what could be some really, really good racing here with the Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series.
Yeah, certainly these top titans continue to rule, but others are showing that they're not out of that by any stretch, and that's going to make for an outstanding end to the season as we race to the championship at Homestead. And next week, we'll be back for Charlotte Motor Speedway, 130 laps of action. And I don't know, can anybody knock these top two off? That's a great question.
Yeah, we're going to see. Meanwhile, we're going to step aside. We'll come back Sunday night for the Sunday Night Surge Series, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, right here on Turn 1. On behalf of the league admins, I'm Sean Fitz. That's Kevin England. We'll see you next time for more racing action. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.